So when we finally get to the end of the internal dialogue, which is maddening, we get to the still mind, which is the second jhana, the second stage of the 8 stages of ecstasy or contemplation or whatever term you want to use. Anyway, when we get to that still mind, we think, oh, finally, thank God, I'm finally free of my spiritual crisis, my neuroses. Well, friends, no, that's not the complete freedom of one's neuroses. That's just one of the major layers. So then, as we continue on our spiritual quest through a rigorous contemplative life, then we get to the next stage of the spiritual crisis. And the next stage of the spiritual crisis is characterized by hypersensitivity, in which loud noises annoy us. We might even be quick-tempered about annoying things. It seems like everything will annoy us. And, we may actually be propelled back to that internal dialogue phase. And so we'll go back and forth between, the internal dialogue and the hypersensitive phase, and in between there will be some stilling of the mind, and the whole thing will be quite maddening. But eventually we'll become established in a still mind that will persist throughout the day, which means that we have become saturated in the second jhana, but we continue to become hypersensitive. One of the characteristics of the hypersensitive phase is we may cry while we're meditating, and we may cry at random intervals. I remember when I was going through the hypersensitive phase maybe 15 years ago, I began to cry at unusual moments, like when I was driving the car. Suddenly I'd be crying, and or while I was standing in line at the grocery store, I remember crying, and I'm sure everybody thought I was going quite mad, and perhaps I was going mad because I was, fully into my descent into hell, and but just have courage, because if you continue on with your rigorous contemplative life, you'll get through that phase of shedding emotional baggage or intense emotional feelings. And you'll have intense emotional feelings. You'll be intensely angry and intensely sad and perhaps intensely depressed and so forth. But as you continue on, your hypersensitivity will continue, and the trick is to develop equanimity here, because this is the equanimity phase. The third jhana is all about equanimity, and equanimity really is not about being numb. It's about being intensely aware of sensation and emotions and all that, but having a stable mind that doesn't react to all that. And maybe the tears might streak down one's face, but you just let it go and just let all that shedding. Again, this is another layer of shedding, but now it's a shedding of intense feelings, of emotions. And when we get towards the end of that layer, we get to a place where we can sit in meditation for about an hour to an hour and a half, and a sense of self will diminish, and sensation will be intense and rich, but it's as if you're an empty conduit. There's no sense of self, and but tremendous sensation.